The power players of the Middle East, Israel and Iran. Two countries, one believed to have nuclear weapons and one with nuclear ambitions. Today, the debate about what needs to be done. It's raging across the world, and back here in Ottawa, the government and opposition are facing off over what comes next. Pierre Poilievre underlined his call for Israel to strike Iran's nuclear facility.
It would be a gift by the Jewish state to humanity.
Well, the Prime Minister said his goal is to encourage, quote, de-escalation across the region. Joining us now with his thoughts on the strategy and the shifting power in the Middle East is former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton. Nice to see you, Ambassador Bolton. Thanks for making time for us.
Glad to be with you.
Looking at the current situation in the Middle East, it seems everything continues to escalate. Israel now fighting a multi-front war and confronting what to do on Iran. What is your take on how the war is unfolding so far and where you see it going?
Well, I think really there's been a region-wide war for a year since Hamas's attack on October 7th of last year. And it was part of an overall ring of fire strategy, as the Iranians call it, against Israel. And right now, it's not going well for Iran. I think Israel is systematically dismembering Hamas and Hezbollah, have a lot of work to do on that. The next big event, however, is whatever decision the Israeli cabinet makes about how to retaliate against Iran for the October 1 missile attack. And just to put that missile attack in context, 180, 200 ballistic missiles fired from Iran against Israel is the largest ballistic missile attack in world history. So I think it's pretty clear Israel's response will be quite strong, but nobody at this point really has an inkling exactly what it will be. It will take place, I think, within a relatively short period of time, and then we'll see where we go from there.
I think, as you point out, it was a historic event that you had this exchange with Iran trying to strike Israel, and Israel had the systems in place to protect itself, but it did not lessen the degree or severity of that attack. What do you think the Israeli cabinet, the war cabinet, is taking into consideration as they decide what targets to strike in Iran, whether or not to go after the nuclear facilities and oil fields or something more like conventional military facilities?
You know, Israel's main concern, I think, in the near term is defensive. Have they destroyed enough of Hezbollah's arsenal so that retaliation against Israel from Hezbollah in conjunction with more ballistic missile attacks from Iran itself don't overwhelm Israel's aerial defense systems, which have done well. But the way you beat any air defense system is put more projectiles in the air against it than they have the ability to respond to. But assuming that Israel can work its way through that, I think the question that they want to answer is, what's the principal threat that Israel faces from Iran, and are we going to take what may be our only opportunity to go after it, which would, I think, my view would be that leads them to attack the nuclear weapons program, which, if you ask the United States, what's Iran's biggest threat to the U.S., it's Iran's nuclear weapons program. But there are plenty of other options, including attacks against military facilities, the oil infrastructure, and against Iran's senior leadership.
How close is Iran to developing nuclear weapons?
Well, I think they're very close. I think the 2015 nuclear deal was a big mistake. I think it gave a false sense of security. There's much about Iran's program we simply don't know what the activity is, including whether it might be taking place under a mountain in North Korea, with which Iran has spent a lot of time working on both ballistic missiles and nuclear weapons. So, you know, if you're Israel and you've seen in both the April attack from Iran and the October 1 attack, hundreds of ballistic missiles launched at you, you can have no confidence that the next time you see a ballistic missile coming from Iran, that under its nose cone, it might not have a nuclear weapon. So how long are you willing to take that chance?
Is Iran trying to bring things back to the previous regional balance? They've talked a big game, and obviously that ballistic missile attack was significant. But I've been talking to some strategists who say, you know, Iran was not as powerful as people thought. They have no desire for a regional war against Israel. But if Israel hits their nuclear facilities, will that regional war be inevitable?
Well, to put it this way, I think Iran is scared to death of Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government. I don't think they're scared of the Biden administration, unfortunately. And yeah, sure, you can say Iran doesn't want a regional war, but it launched one against Israel last October the 7th. And as I mentioned, it's not going very well. So now they're really worried. I think that's the point where Israel can have the maximum impact precisely by going after the nuclear weapons program. There's no guarantee they'll have another opportunity as good.
There's been this tension that's been very clear between the Biden White House and Bibi Netanyahu over whether or not to strike the facilities. Some say that the Americans now look weak, that they don't have the influence that the Israelis they used to. What is that dynamic between Netanyahu and Biden? And does Netanyahu need Biden's sign off to strike nuclear facilities? Or is he able to do it no matter what? And Biden basically has his hands tied because while he provides weapons to Israel, the reality is that this is a government that's made decisions they're going to go further than previous Israeli governments.
Well, they're going to go further because they've been under attack by ballistic missiles. I mean, it really, I suppose you have to be there to see the full impact. I think it's clear as of now that Israel has not told the United States if it's made a decision, what it will do, or even the options it's considering. And I have high confidence that's true because there are no leaks of that in the American press, which come out of the Biden White House with great regularity. So this shows a determination by Israel. They're going to make up their own mind on it. And they worry about what Biden did to them the last time in April. He said, take the win, very few casualties, take the win and don't respond heavily. And Israel complied with that pressure. And the response from Iran was 180 ballistic missiles on October the 1st.
You, of course, worked for the Trump administration, and this is all happening against the backdrop of a U.S. election that is less than a month away. We've seen Donald Trump and Kamala Harris fighting it out in the polls. What is your thought on how the election's unfolding so well and Trump's chances of winning, as well as your concerns if he wins again?
Well, I think the election right now is on a knife's edge. It could go either way, and events in the outside world could be a factor. People talk about the October surprise. What happens in the Middle East will be a surprise. You don't know which way it will cut. I think it probably hurts Harris because it could drive up global oil prices, and that in turn could have an effect on gas prices at the pump in the U.S. and higher costs for other goods. I think that's one reason why Biden, if nothing else, would simply like to postpone any Israeli action till after November the 5th. I don't think it's going to happen. But it's because I think Israel's got a pressing need right now, and that's what they'll consider. But I don't think anybody who tells you that they can predict with confidence who will win in November, there's just no basis for that at this point.
What effect do you think that Elon Musk's support for Donald Trump will have, if any?
I think that's very hard to tell. I think this is celebrity season. Taylor Swift backs Kamala Harris. Elon Musk backs Donald Trump. Maybe it's a wash. I don't know. I think the electorate's very, very divided on partisan lines. I think it's more a question of boosting turnout on each side. And that really is what we call the ground game, to get out the vote drive in early balloting and on election day. And I think the candidate that does that the best could well be the one that wins.
What has surprised you the most about the election to date, the election race?
Well, I think everybody was surprised that Biden did so poorly in the debate with Trump that he was forced to drop out. It leads to the question why those around him didn't see his condition much earlier, convince him to leave graciously a year before that, and give the Democrats a chance to have a primary so they could choose, what they considered to be their best candidate. I think right now we've got two very inadequate candidates. I'm not going to vote for either one of them. I think many Americans are saying, with a population of almost 350 million people, is this the best we can do?
What do you think the outcome would be for Canada if there's another Trump presidency?
Well, I think, as with most allies, the relationship will run into problems. Trump loves to talk about tariffs. He's kind of obsessed with it. During his administration, as all of your viewers know, there was a renegotiation of NAFTA to have modifications resulting in the USMCA agreement, as it's called. Trump is talking about putting tariffs on Mexico, putting tariffs on Canada. There ought to be other priorities in life, but that doesn't apply to Trump. So I think relations could be, I'm sad to say, rocky.
Ambassador John Bolton, thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be with you.